Chair recognizes that the Lenore County Board of Education has established a quorum and calls the June 6, 2022 regular monthly board meeting to order. Chair recognizes Mr. Nick Harvey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let us pray. May the words spoken in this room tonight be beneficial to the students, parents, staff, and administrators in our school system. And may we be led by the guiding principle to always base our decisions in the best interest of our young people. Amen.
Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chair recognizes Mr. Brett Williams to present the agenda for tonight's meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, tonight it is my honor and privilege to present to you for your consideration and hopefully your approval tonight's agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the agenda?
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Mr. Smith. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Davis. We have a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Mr. Davis to approve the board agenda as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, Chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. The agenda is set for tonight. Okay. I did not see any elected officials with us tonight. If there's anyone here, I'll apologize. Okay, I do have some comments that I would like to make. You have heard some of these before. Matter of fact, you've heard all of these before. Well, no, not all of them. But I think it's important that we say this. And, I said in a couple of meetings here recently that I said them, and I'm not just reading them off the page, but I believe what I'm saying. We have a substantial amount of school board business that we need to conduct tonight. I would ask that each board member have their questions ready for our presenters. I would also ask that you request to be recognized before you ask your questions. This will help facilitate an orderly, timely, efficient, and effective meeting. We would like to continue to thank all of the staff and employees, regardless of job description, of the Lenore County Public School System for the outstanding commitment, dedication, and hard work that has gone and continues to go into making the students of the Lenore County Public Schools as successful as possible under the extraordinary circumstances that existed during the last school year and continues to exist during the current school year. We want to assure all stakeholders that the Lenore County Board of Education and the administration will commit to trying to do everything possible to safe and healthy environment for students, staff, and community. We not only want to provide a quality education of our students, but also a safe environment for our students, teachers, and staff in order to foster learning and success. Mr. Williams will highlight some of the good news tonight about all the hard work and dedication that Lenore County Public School students and staff have put forth that resulted in numerous honors and accomplishments. We would like to congratulate all 506 graduates and their families for reaching this milestone in their lives. We have provided them with the education they need to be successful in their future endeavors. Mr. Williams and Mr. Holmes will share some more exciting news about the 5 graduates of the Lenore County Public School Systems. That concludes my comments. Chair recognizes Mr. Brett Williams to present the following Lenore County Public School student and staff announcements, recognitions, honors, and accomplishments.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight it is my pleasure to report to you that we had a smooth close to the end of the 21-22 school year. We've now completed a series of 5 graduations with our final 3 traditional high schools graduating on Saturday. All 5 of the graduation programs, starting with Lenore County Early College High School, then Lenore County Learning Academy, our alternative program, and then South Lenore Kinsman High School in North Lenore. All 5 were outstanding events for the 506 Lenore County Public School students in the class of 2022. They were great events for all in attendance and for our entire school system family. I want to thank all of the high school principals, assistant principals, graduation committee members, teachers, and other staff members who worked so hard all year in planning for these events and for the diplomas and what they represented and the culmination of learning represented therein. So I really thank everybody who had a part in these outstanding programs, and even more important, in what these programs represented. We had a very, as I said, smooth close to the school year, and that's due to the hard work of a lot of people. It takes every member of the team. We've heard often it takes a village. Indeed, it does. I want to thank our principals, assistant principals, directors, coordinators, specialists, school counselors, teachers, teacher assistants, nurses, social workers, clerical staff members, custodians, child nutrition employees, technology team members, compliance team members, and techs, maintenance team members, transportation team members, coaches, club leaders, psychologists, and all other members of the LCPS family for all that they have done every single day this year in working to make this year outstanding. Our teachers, students, other employees, and parents truly have joined together not only to make this the third consecutive year of school impacted by pandemic, not only to make it all that it can be, but also to make it truly outstanding. And I appreciate you and all that you've done, all that you are, and all that you've done for this school system. We don't take that for granted. I don't take that for granted, and I truly appreciate you and all that you've meant to the young people that we're all so richly blessed to serve. So thank you for that. Tonight, Mr. Chairman and board and public, it is my honor to recognize some of our students and staff members. We have a high school history teacher in the making at South Lenore High School, Senior Isabel Vernon. Isabel has been named a Maynard Scholar at East Carolina University, earning a 4-year scholarship that's geared specifically to preparing potential teachers for the classroom. She was chosen for this competitive scholarship on the basis of her academic record, an online application that included several essay questions, and an extensive interview process at East Carolina University before students and faculty members from the College of Education. Teaching, after all, is in Isabel's bloodline. Her grandmother, Jane Vernon, was an outstanding veteran staff member for us, outstanding music teacher, Southwood Elementary School for more than 30 years. So congratulations to Isabel on this great honor, on the graduation, and on what absolutely seems like a very bright future. We hope to get her back soon and employ her as a member of the LCPS team. Our Battle of the Books team from Moss Hill Elementary School posted the highest total score in recent years when it won the LCPS Elementary Battle of the Books competition on April 8th, and then went on to finish in the regional competition held 3 weeks after that. Moss Hill has won the district title twice in the last 3 contests. Team members are Aaliyah Brown, Reagan Bumgarner, Eliza Hawkins, Addison Lambert, Eden Nguyen, Stella Posey, Sophia Reed, and Kale Roberts. The coaches are Melissa Small and Joey Gray. Congratulations to the Tigers. Lenore County Public Schools had a number of middle school and high school students qualified to compete in the State Science Olympiad Tournament at NC State University on Saturday, April 23rd. Students qualified for the state tournament by placing first or second in their individual events. Our regional winners were North Lenore High School, Abigail Hull, Samia Pitts, and Ahmad Zayad for Code Busters, Sydney Wichard and Jared Santiago for Green Generation event, Bella Brock and Maria Urena Trajectory event, Jaden Moody and Noura Zayad for Write It Down event. So congratulations to them. The team also earned silver medals in remote sensing, in which Ahmad Zayad, Bella Brock, and Abigail Hull competed, as well as in the Right Stuff, in which Samia Pitts and Ahmad Zayad also competed. Bronze medals were won in the Chem Lab competition that Abigail Hull and Naja Masamba competed in, as well as the environmental chemistry, in which Sydney Wichard competed. These strong finishes led the team to place 4th overall for their finish in the regional competition. South Lenore High School, Trinity. Those congratulations to the North Lenore kids. South Lenore High School, Trinity Beverly, and Jackson Moorhead in ornithology. Woodington Middle School, Abby Whaley, Kaylee Tyndall, Michael Mazingo for Code Busters, Cody Baggett, Kaylee Jones, Green Generation. Congratulations to the Woodington Middle School team and South Lenore team. Frink Middle School team, Aiden Zocklis and Melinda Wimbush, Anatomy and Physiology competition. Congratulations to the Frink team. Contentnia Savannah K-18, Madeline White and Jenna Van for Fast Facts competition. Congratulations to the Contentnia Savannah team. Kinston High School, Spirit Award winner for the regional tournament back in February. Congratulations to the Kinston Vikings. Lenore County Early College, Cassidy Kennedy and Haley Jones, first place overall in forensics. Now, if you remember, Lenore County, prior to the last 7 years, was not competing in Science Olympiad and never competed in more than 2 of our schools. And we started an initiative to really engage in this process and not only be at the table, but to give it all that we had. And our kids have risen to the fore and to the top, as have our teachers and the coaches. And in the very first year, we had kids go to the regional competition, state level in second year, and it's just gotten bigger and bigger with all 17 of our schools competing. So we're so proud of our Science Olympiad kids. A team of 4 rising juniors at Lenore County Early College High School competed in the semifinals of the National Personal Finance Challenge, one of only 2 teams in North Carolina in the closing rounds of the contest. The early college team qualified in 2 preliminary rounds to join 24 teams nationwide in the semifinals. Congratulations to team members Alima Stocks, Caden C., Hannah Van, and Maria Santiago, and their coach, Dr. Travis Town, on this success. Their performance earned each student a $250 scholarship. So congratulations to Dr. Town, to Early College High School, to Mr. St. Amand, and the entire team out at Early College High School. Very proud of you. Crystal Carlisle, our Director of Middle Grades Education, represented LCPS as a state finalist in the Administrator of the Year Award presented by the North Carolina Association for Scholastic Activities, or NCASA, and had a role in last month's NCASA showcase in Greensboro. The NCASA oversees 21 statewide academic and arts-related contests for students, from the Quiz Bowl to the quill writing competition to state dance, arts, and visual competitions. Involved with the organization for the first time this school year, and that's a great finish for a first-time competitor. LCPS quickly made its mark under the guidance of Ms. Carlisle. Our kids, particularly in quill writing, did an outstanding job this year in their first year of competing. And Quiz Bowl and NCASA's art showcase as well. Congratulations to Ms. Carlisle for earning this recognition, and many thanks to her for increasing the opportunities for our kids to learn and to thrive in our classrooms every day. So at this time, Ms. Carlisle, if you come forward, we have a certificate for you, and we'd like to congratulate you, Mr. Hill, if you would assist. Finalist at the state level. Congratulations. Proud of you. Okay. 3 consecutive staff members, very proud of all of them. Regional or state recognitions to point out here. Mr. Brian Corey, our Director of Testing and Accountability, is the winner of the 2022 Clyde Davis Regional Accountability Coordinator 5 Testing Coordinator of the Year Award, an honor bestowed by his peers across the 19-county region in southeastern and western North Carolina. Mr. Corey was selected from a ballot of all Region 5 district testing coordinators. The award recognizes Mr. Corey's leadership skills, organizational skills, knowledge, and willingness to help others. Congratulations to Mr. Brian Corey. The Assistant Superintendent for Testing and Accountability, who is, I think, leader of their organization for testing, came to Lenore County and surprised Mr. Corey. He was knee-deep in testing and the throes of testing. He was at his computer, he was working hard, and they just burst in with a plaque and surprised him, so that was a great event for Mr. Corey. But we appreciate you. Thank you for your hard work and your excellence. Our third staff member that we want to recognize is Ms. Kellen Bryant from Kinston High School. She recently completed a year-long intensive program designed to build leadership skills and produce distinguished school leaders. The Distinguished Leader in Practice program is provided by the North Carolina Principals and Assistant Principals Association, or NCPAPA, and it's sponsored by the NC Alliance for School Leadership Development. Ms. Bryant is the third LCPS principal to complete the program in the last 2 years, and we've had several leaders go through that. We're very proud of Ms. Bryant, so you come forward, please. Ms. Bryant was honored at a luncheon and received her recognition there, but we want to recognize her here too as well. All right. And now, Miss Annie Davis, Assistant Cafeteria Manager at Northwest Elementary School. She went the extra mile to cover staffing shortages at other LCPS schools during the pandemic. Miss Davis has just gone above and beyond, and everyone who works with Miss Davis says the same thing, that she is a blessing to that school, to those young people, to the staff members, and she does everything she can every day for everybody. A true servant leader. And she has been recognized for this. She's been named the 2022 Southeast Region Employee of the Year by the School Nutrition Association of North Carolina. This is the fourth time since 2019 that the SNA has honored an LCPS Child Nutrition employee with either a statewide or a regional U.S. award. A member of the Child Nutrition staff for more than a decade. Ms. Davis has been at Northwest for 2 years, and I believe that she has received national recognition. And is that a first for our Child Nutrition Department, Ms. Smith?
We've received national recognition like 2 other times, but this is a great one.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. Three's the charm. National recognition. Congratulations. We're so proud of you. The South Lenore High School Agriculture Education Program is a recent recipient of the 2021-2022 North Carolina Agriculture Education Program Improvement Grant Award, sponsored by the North Carolina Tobacco Trust Fund Commission. Ms. Margot Harper, Mr. Joshua Singleton, and students have been awarded $14,545 for the project titled Small Ruminant Facility. We have the North Carolina FFA State Office here tonight with us to present this check. We have members of the leadership team from the South Lenore FFA department. We have teacher Ms. Margot Harper here. I'd like all of them to come forward, please. Mr. Hill, Ms. Amy Jones, CTE director, the whole crew for this one. Big check.
Real quick, thanks so much for allowing us to be here for our special presentation. The 2000 General Assembly created this North Carolina Tobacco Trust Fund settlement agreement as part of the master settlement agreement with tobacco manufacturing companies. Its purpose was to fund grant programs that encourage a strong agricultural industry in our state by striving to make a positive impact on North Carolina producers. The commission is an advocate for agriculture and projects that support current and former members of tobacco families, and those families are a priority for their funding. And so this year, the North Carolina Tobacco Trust Fund Commission actually awarded over $180,000 to the North Carolina FFA Foundation for grants like this one. And this evening, we are proud to present one of these grants to South Lenoir High School in the amount of $14,545. And so we are excited that the facility will house their animal science supplies and serve as temporary housing for the animal science labs. So, thank you so much.
While you were getting that photograph set up, would you let one of the student representatives, Rachel, or anyone else, if you'd like to share what you think this means? You referenced briefly what this will do in your department with animal science, or maybe you, Ms. Harper, either, if you'd like to share that.
Our students don't have a lot of opportunities at home to have on-hand experiences with the animals, so we want to provide that at our school. So goats, sheep will have temporary animal housing for all sorts of animals that come through our program, and our students will have hands-on experience with those animals. So we're excited for the grant.
Oh.
Gotta get the official. I had the opportunity to go down to South Lenoir for their FFA breakfast, honoring these young people and installing some of them as new officers, and some of them were continuing. It's just a great event. So thank you to our young people and to the South Lenoir team. ACT Work Ready Communities WRC empowers states, regions, and counties with data processes and tools that drive economic growth. Participants are leveraging the ACT Work Keys National Career Readiness Certificate, NCRC, to measure and close skills gaps and building common frameworks that link, align, and match work with the workforce development efforts that we're all trying to do. Earlier in the month at the Kinston City Council at their last meeting, the Eastern Carolina Workforce Development Board recognized Lenoir County as a certified work-ready community. The recognition highlights the partnerships between business and industry and the K-12 higher education community, as well as robust work keys testing that high school LCPS CTE completers take part in during their senior year. Lenoir County has increased its number of work keys platinum attainments, which is the highest level certification available to our students. This award will be housed at the Lenoir County Economic Development Office and is earned every 2 years. Our CTE director, Ms. Amy Jones, is here. Ms. Jones did receive, she received the plaque. Do you have the plaque with you, Ms. Jones? Yeah, just hold it up and show it to them. Has the plaque there. Let's get a picture of Mr. Holmes while you have it there. So this recognition is for work keys and career attainment credits that our kids are getting. And it's really the core of the workforce development efforts that we as a school system are engaging in. So we're very proud of it.
Let's try one more. There you go.
Thank you. Very proud. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Any questions or comments for Mr. Williams? Thank you, Mr. Williams, for highlighting those honors and accomplishments and outstanding student and staff successes. Ms. Taylor, did anybody sign up for public comment? Thank you, ma'am. We will now move to the presentation portion of the agenda. The chair recognizes Mrs. Frances Herring to present an overview of the 2022 summer learning opportunities.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. I just want to be able to offer you all this evening an overview of our summer programming for 2022. We are offering a robust opportunity for kindergarten through high school students. This is what the link looks like on our website. So join us for Blockbuster for the summer. There are 4 big summer learning sessions premiering at a school near you this July. And right here, when you see this image on our website, all our parents have to do is click on that, and it takes them to a page for them to enroll their students. So this is when our opportunities will be held. We'll have our July is our summer for schooling. So we'll begin the Read to Achieve camp, which we've had for years and years, which is mandated by legislation. And our Elementary Summer Enrichment Academy will be held the days in green right there in July the 5th to the 28th. They are 4-day weeks. The Summer Bridge Camp and the Career Accelerator Camp, those are offered to middle and high school students, and also the High School Summer Enrichment Academy. So there's 3 different opportunities for high school and middle school students. Will be held the week of the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th of July. The 6th and 7th, there are work days for our teachers who will be conducting those 3 camps for our secondary students. And our migrant students have their own special camp, which will be held the first week in August. And we did that last summer, and it was just fantastic. The kids had a great time, and so we're looking forward to that opportunity again in August. The Read to Achieve camp, like I mentioned previously, is mandated by legislation. It will be held at 3 different sites this summer. We normally try to do 2, but we'll have it at Northeast, Banks, and Peak Hill. The principals get very excited. We rotate where the sites are, so that's where we'll be this summer. And we'll also be folding in the Elementary Summer Enrichment Academy in with our Read to Achieve students. But during Read to Achieve, the students will receive direct explicit instruction to improve reading and writing skills. It is a very specific intent. We'll be providing the LLI program, which we have for the last several years. It is a very powerful short-term intervention. It gets great results. It's a daily intensive small group instruction. It contains leveled books that meets the children where they are. It's a fast-paced systematic, and we've had lots of progress with it. There'll be a writing block of instruction, focusing on narrative writing daily. Of course, we will have our technology integration. Children will have their iPads this summer. And of course, there'll be a focus on phonics instruction. Our Summer Enrichment Academies, our C camps as we call them, the K-5C is blended into the Read to Achieve camps. It's for kindergarten through 5th grade students. They can attend the C camp with a focus on reading instruction. And as I showed you earlier on the calendars, it's July 5th to the 28th, Monday through Thursday. The camp runs from 8 to 1. And it will be held at the 3 elementary sites I mentioned previously, Pink Hill, Northeast, and Banks. For 6th through 8th grade students, they'll have the summer enrichment camps. And all of our middle school summer enrichment camps are being held at the high schools where the middle school feeds. So our rising 6th graders and 9th graders can attend the summer bridge camp. And this is also mandated by recent legislation. The summer bridge camp allows students to kind of get a sneak peek of next year's learning with a focus on transition from middle school, transition into middle school with your 6th graders, and then transition into high school with your 8th graders. But the summer bridge camp focuses on the next year's standards. It is not a remediation opportunity. July 11th through the 28th, it's when it will run Monday through Thursday, 8 to 1. And it will be held at all 3 of our traditional high schools. We will be providing transportation for all of our camps, and we'll also be providing meals, breakfast and lunch, for all of our students attending our summer opportunities. The rising 7th through 12th graders can attend what we are calling the Career Accelerator Camp. It's actually also mandated by legislation just this summer, and it focuses on career exploration with a variety of high demand fields. So we're hoping that will be lots of fun. It will also run those 3 weeks in July, 8 to 1 at the 3 high schools. Our 7th through 12th graders can also have an opportunity to attend the Summer Enrichment Academy, which will focus on deepening their grade level content to prepare them for the next grade level. And they can also receive course or credit recovery. So this is a little bit different from the bridge camp that I mentioned previously. And then our migrant students have opportunities as well, and that will be the first week in August. And that's open to all of our migrant students, kindergarten through 12th grade, and the camp will be located on the campus of Rochelle Middle School. So that is a summary of all that we are offering this summer. All of our students will have somewhere to go, and so we're very excited about that. If you have any questions, I'll do the best I can to answer them.
Yes, Mr. Patterson.
Yeah, one, probably to Mr. Williams. These camps are funded with state money, is correct?
Yes.
Transportation is budgeted into your program costs, correct?
So transportation is taking up a huge chunk of said monies. We were talking about it just today, actually. Our transportation budget, as you can imagine, is at capacity because of the cost of diesel. But the state is providing some relief, from what I understand, so that their buses can run for the summer for camps.
And the federal debate on mules,
Oh, we've got that covered. I mean, we've done that even before, and since the pandemic, folks have been feeding, but we've been doing summer feeding for many years as a part of CEP, and we have fed 4 days a week during the summer, a 4-day-a-week schedule, and we've even fed on Fridays when the school district is not in session. But classes are not in session, but our kids still need to eat, and we have had the participation on that has continued to go up consistently for the last 5 years. So we've been very pleased with that.
is that with federal dollars or state dollars?
That's federal through USDA.
That's still the CEP money.
Yes, it is. So through the federal school lunch program. But now, with regard to transportation, pretty much all of the school systems in North Carolina are indicating, and Kevin Harrison made this, state director for transportation, made this report to the state board last week about transportation budgets. And every school system, typically almost every school system is within their budget, and they're expected to be for fuel costs. But this year, with the unexpectedly skyrocketing fuel costs that happened during the school year, every school system is over. So DPI has worked out a plan, and they presented it to the state board last week to work with school systems to normalize their budgets and basically, instead of saying do a revised budget request, turn in what you have and the miles you've run on your buses. And last year we rolled about 1.5 million miles. And so we've been asked to turn that into NCDPI transportation, and they'll work with us on normalizing that. So we do anticipate some relief with that.
Thank you, Chair.
Any other questions or comments from Mrs. Herring or Mr. Williams? All right, thank you, Mrs. Herring. This provides a great opportunity for students and parents to hopefully address any lost learning during the past school year. Chair recognizes Mr. Patrick Holmes to present a summary of the Lenore County Public School graduation program.
Thank you, Mr. Hill, and good evening to the board. On behalf of Superintendent Williams, the district administrators, school administrators, principals, teachers, staff, in short, everybody who had something to do with this success, I'm happy to report there are 451 more LCPS high school graduates today than there were Friday. As you know, our commencement season started with Lenore County Early College High School on May 4th, resumed June 1st with Lenore County Learning Academy, and concluded with a Diploma Palooza at South Lenore, North Lenore, and Kinston High School on Saturday. In all, the 5 schools awarded 506 diplomas to our seniors. In many ways, this is a typical cohort. About half are leaving high school having earned some college degrees. About 80 of these students have earned associate degrees while in high school. About nearly $10 million worth of scholarships are awarded to this class, and it is, for a small class, an incredible achievement. What is atypical about this group of seniors is that they accomplished all of this in an environment of uncertainty and disruption, hurricanes, floods, and most disruptive of all, a global pandemic. Commencement exercises for the class of 2020 may have represented a return to normalcy with large crowds in traditional venues and programs that were a welcome throwback to past commencements, but the struggles of the last 3 school years remain a part of the high school experience for this year's seniors. Megan Parrish, a summa cum laude graduate of South Lenore High School and a commencement speaker Saturday, remembered her last day as a full-time, in-person high school student. That was March 12th, 2020. That is remarkable memory. What is more remarkable, though, is that this class sees itself as hardened by the trials of COVID and proud of their resiliency. As our own Felicia Solomon told graduating seniors as commencement speaker at LCLA, these students are not just survivors, they are overcomers. Along with a diploma, these seniors acquired a badge of honor. Alongside the lessons they learned while with LCPS, they take into the next chapter of their lives the lessons they taught themselves while in our school. And that, it seems to me, is the fullest measure of an education. I'd be glad to talk about, more about graduations or answer any questions you have.
All right, any questions or comments from Mr. Holmes? Thank you, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, sir.
And as you can see from Mr. Holmes' presentation, we have 5 outstanding graduations this year. Chair recognizes Ms. Melissa Lynch to present the 2022-2025 academically or intellectually gifted plan.
Good evening. Tonight, I'm presenting on the review and revisions to the Lenore County Public Schools AIG plan. This plan is submitted to the board every 3 years per NCDPI requirements. Tonight, this plan is submitted for board study, and I will seek approval of the plan at the next board meeting. Article 9B of North Carolina General Statute provides the rationale for identifying and serving gifted students, and the NCAIG program standards have been developed to serve as a statewide framework and guide for our district and others to develop, coordinate, and implement thoughtful and comprehensive AIG programming. During the upcoming 3-year AIG plan cycle, our major AIG program goals are to increase the number of AIG licensed teachers and provide professional development opportunities that best meets their needs and the needs of our learners, to continue our work with talent development across all grade levels, but specifically in grades K-3, to engage with AIG school contacts, regional and state leads, and other experts in our field to explore local norming options for identification of our students, and to continue our work with school administrators to explore service options that meet the needs of our AIG learners within our schools. I thank you for your time tonight. Please feel free to reach out with any questions that you have over the next month while you're reviewing the plan, and I'm also happy to answer any that you might have tonight.
thank you, Mrs. Lynch. Are there any questions for Mrs. Lynch? Okay, thank you again.
Thank you.
Please review, and if you have any questions, please contact Mr. Williams or Mrs. Lynch for action at a subsequent meeting. Chair recognizes Mrs. Danielle Smith to present the child nutrition vendor information for the 2022-2023 school year.
Thank you. Ms. Smith comes to the podium. I want to thank Mr. Smith and Mr. King for attending the Child Nutrition Banquet last week. It was an outstanding event culminating a year of serving over 1 million meals. And to echo Mr. Anderson's question when Ms. Herring presented as far as transportation, we're seeing the same, are having the same needs with child nutrition in our vendors. Our prices are fluid. What she will present to you tonight is that we will wish to roll over our bids with our vendors, but the prices are a moving target. So if you have questions specifically for prices, she will give you what she has at this point. But as the cost of petroleum rises, the cost is pushed down to our delivery services as well. So we're hoping to be locked in. As you know, in her leadership years ago, we joined a consortium with other districts in the east to help our prices or reduce our costs and our prices, and we thank her for that. But as she presents tonight, just know this is fluid as well, and we will keep the board posted as if we anticipate any issues outside of that. So, Ms. Smith.
Good evening. So I bring before you today, it's that time of year again where every year we ask for rollovers or we tell you about the bid process. So we have the things coming up for the logo. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. So Cisco of Raleigh, they decided to pull out from us the end of this past school year, the end of this school year. And so we had to rebid our food out because of the gas prices and everything, they decided to try for a higher fixed flat fee. And they did win again. Actually, we did bid out to 2 other food companies, Gordon's and US Foods, and they decided not to bid. So if that gives you an idea of what school food service is about, they wanted nothing of it. So we are with Cisco of Raleigh. Their fixed flat fee was $1.75 in 2021. Now it's $2.49 for this next school year. So to give you an idea of what the market looks like when it comes to delivery of foods and everything. So I'm just giving you my information that I have. I did reach out to the produce company. The produce company is not going up on their delivery fee. However, they said that the food prices would be going up. It's just like the grocery store. Everywhere you go, you're gonna see the prices go up. Hershey Company, we would like to roll that over. There's only one product on there that they're going up on. It's pennies. So they are keeping they're pretty much keeping their food prices the same. Correction Enterprises, they only have 2 chemicals that they're going up on, and it's pennies. So I have reached out to every one of these companies. Mayola Company, they are going up by 3 cents a carton, and that is because of gas prices. So that tells you what's kind of going on. But we do wish to roll over this upcoming school year.
So she'll bring this back next month for your approval, for presentation tonight. She'll bring it back next month. If you have any questions specifically regarding these items, you can reach out to me.
All right, any questions now for Mr. Harvey or Mrs. Smith?
Mr.
All right,
Chairman,
thank you, Mrs. Smith. Oh, excuse me, Mr.
yeah,
Chairman.
you say the RH Produce said that they're not going up on delivery price, but they're going up on the food.
But they have said that the price of the food would be going up.
So we're just absorbing the delivery and the price of the
Right,
food, really.
exactly, yes.
Okay.
So it's one way or the other, it seems.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
if
yes,
fuel
sir.
prices come down, are they gonna come down their prices?
It does escalate from time to time. Like milk, we do have a de-escalation and escalating clause. So if the price of milk goes down, we will be in that price. But if it goes up, they can only go up so much on us. So we do have that in our contract with them. So there are things in place. There's also a force majeure, which is what happened a lot this year, where the different food companies, because Cisco distributes our food to us. They are not the individual companies. So the individual companies would send them notice that they are doing a force majeure, which means they go up on their food price, just like the grocery stores. So we are seeing an increase in ground beef, we're seeing an increase in chicken, we're seeing increases everywhere. And a lot of that is out of our control at that point. It's not Cisco, the distributing company, it's the food companies in general. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now.
So you're saying that and to piggyback on what Mr. Davis said, so what you're saying is in the contracts, if the gas goes down, there's a clause or something in that says that it can fluctuate with the prices? Or is the price, if we accept these contracts, does that lock us into what it is now? Or if there's a fluctuation in the gas and the prices of food, is it gonna go back down?
So Cisco of Raleigh has a definite, when the bid went out, it's a definite, that's the flat fixed fee. So that's the fee that we pay no matter what for them. R&H, it's a flat, that their delivery fee, that's why they're not going up on the delivery fee, but they are saying that the food itself will go up. So that's pretty much the way that it is. Now the milk again is de-escalating and escalating. So that is in the contract that would happen. Okay.
Just wondering, cause gas went up to $4.69 from the time I
Ooh,
left today
no.
to the time I came back over here, so.
No.
Make sure they gonna keep shooting the price up
I
every time
understand.
gas go up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay, any more questions for Mrs. Smith or Mr. Harvey? Thank you, Mrs. Smith and Mr.
Okay,
Harvey.
thank you.
Please review, if you have any questions, please contact Mr. Harvey or Ms. Smith for action at a subsequent meeting. Chair recognizes Mr. Eric Adams to present the May 2022 financial report.
Thank you. Good evening, board members. The May 2022 financial report summarizes budget and year-to-date activity for all Lenore County Board of Education funds as of May 31st. Additionally, the report presents the local current expense fund balance for the same time period. As you have an opportunity to review the report, I would be happy to answer any questions you may have at this time.
Any questions for Mr. Adams?
Just one, Mr.
Yes, sir.
The net loss in that, where did that come from?
That is the change in fund balance in
That's the
fund
change
to the
in it.
local current expense fund.
What made the change? I mean, particularly, is there anything particular that?
So there's been a couple of factors this year that have played into that. I'd be happy to add more details at a later meeting. But our sub cost this year has contributed to that, as well as our early implementation of the $15 an hour minimum wage.
Thank you.
Those would be the most, two significant contributing factors to that change.
Any more questions or comments for Mr. Adams? All right, thank you, Mr. Adams. We will now move to the action portion of the agenda. Chair recognizes Mr. Eric Adams to present budget amendment number 5 for the fiscal year 2021-2022.
Thank you again. Budget amendment number 5 is being used to revise the working budget of the Lenore County Board of Education to reflect changes that have occurred throughout this fiscal year. The budget amendment is being made to the State Public School Fund as well as the federal grants funds. I did want to point out that in the State Public School Fund, part of this additional funds is for a fuel contingency from the state for the increased cost of fuel.
All right, any questions for Mr. Adams? All right, thank you, Mr. Adams. Is there a recommendation or a motion pertaining to budget amendment number 5?
Move to accept.
We got a motion by Mr. Davis. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Woods. We have a motion by Mr. Davis and a second by Mr. Woods to approve the budget amendment as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, Chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you again, Mr. Adams.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mr. Adams to present the 2022-2023 continuing budget resolution.
Thank you again. The continuing budget resolution I'm requesting approval for continued operations for the 22-23 fiscal year. The budget reflects the State Public School Fund's planning allotments, the local current expense fund reflects the county appropriation and estimated fines and forfeitures. Federal grants funds are based on the planning allotments for the upcoming school year, as well as carryover funds in federal grants. Capital outlay reflects the current lottery funds and half-cent sales tax revenue, as well as prior year rebudgeted projects that are incomplete at year end. The school food service fund is prepared with anticipated revenues, and the trust fund and agency budget is prepared using actual amounts as of July 1st, 2022. The other local current expense fund is prepared using the anticipated revenues of those state and federal grants, as well as carryover amounts. As you have an opportunity to review, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Adams? Thank you, Mr. Adams. Is there a recommendation or a motion pertaining to the 2022-2023 continuing budget resolution?
Move to approve the budget as presented.
Motion by Mr. Woods. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. We have a motion by Mr. Woods and a second by Mr. Smith to approve the budget resolution as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you again, Mr. Adams.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mrs. Beverly Key to present the application for federal funding for the 2022-2023 school year.
Good evening. I am requesting board approval to apply for federal funding for the 2022-23 school year in order to provide additional instructional activities and other services to help our children and teachers meet high standards as set in Every Student Succeed Act. The programs include Title I Part A, which is improving the academic achievement of the disadvantaged. Title I Part D, prevention and intervention programs for children and youth who are neglected, delinquent, or at risk, like our Kennedy Home students. Title I-C, our migrant education program. Title II, Part A, which is support and effective instruction. And Title IV, which is student support and academic enrichment.
Are there any questions for Ms. Key? All right, thank you, Mr. Key. Is there a recommendation or a motion pertaining to the application for federal funding? Motion by Mr. Anderson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Davis. We have a motion by Mr. Anderson, a second by Mr. Davis to approve the application of federal funds for the 2022-2023 school year as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Key.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Mr. Brian Corey to present the Alternative Schools Accountability Model.
Board Chair, board members, the State Board of Education grants alternative schools a permission to choose an option from the Alternative Schools Accountability Model. The model allows alternative schools to have a substitute for school performance grades, and Lenoir County Learning Academy has previously participated in option B, which is the alternative progress model. The model provides an overall rating of progressing, maintaining, or declining. Lenoir County Learning Academy has received maintaining in the past, and that's made up of 20% of school persistence, 20% school achievement, and 60% school growth. And speaking with the principal, Mrs. Smith, she desires to maintain the current option to choose option B of the alternative progress model. And so I'm requesting that the local school board approve the continuation of the alternative schools progress model for the 2022-23 school year.
Are there any questions for Mr. Corey? Thank you, Mr. Corey. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the Alternative Accountability Model for the 2022-2023 school year? Motion by Mr. Anderson, is there a second? Second by Mr. Davis. We have a motion by Mr. Anderson and a second by Mr. Davis to approve the alternative accountability model for Lenore County Learning Academy for 2022-2023 as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thanks, Mr. Ford. Chair recognizes Mrs. Amy Jones to present the application for career and technical education funding for the 2022-2023 school year.
Good evening. I'm requesting approval of the CTE local application. This application must be submitted to NCDPI in order to receive and use state and federal funds for CTE programs and services. CTE programs include PRC 13, which is months of employment, PRC 14, which is state funding, and PRC 17, which is federal funding. Successful applications will yield approximately $3.4 million in program funding and positions.
All right, any questions from Mrs. Jones? All right, thank you, Mrs. Jones. There's a recommendation or motion pertaining to the career and technical education funding for 2022-2023.
Move to approve as presented.
Motion by Mr. Davis. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Woods. We have a motion by Mr. Davis and a second by Mr. Woods to approve the career and technical education funding application for the 2022-2023 year as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you again, Ms. Jones.
Thank you.
Chair recognizes Ms. Amy Jones to present the 2022-2023 driver education contract.
I'm submitting for your approval the driver's education contract for the 2022-2023 school year. The contract is for third-party services delivered by Jordan Driving School, who has been our provider for many years. There is no change in the fee structure from last year's contract at $45 per student for classroom-only instruction, $190 per student for behind-the-wheel-only instruction, and $235 per student if they use both classroom and behind-the-wheel instruction. Most of our students do require both classroom and behind-the-wheel instruction.
Okay, any questions from Mrs. Jones? Thank you, Mrs. Jones. Is there a recommendation or a motion pertaining to the 2022-2023 driver education contract?
Better lock that one in. I move to approve. Quickly.
Was that a motion?
Yes.
That's it, move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Smith. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Davis. We have a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Mr. Davis to approve the 2022-2023 driver education contract as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Jones.
We'll lock that in tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir.
Chair recognizes Mrs. Frances Herring to present the 2022-2023 fees, fines, and charges.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, board members. Every year I come to you and I ask for you to please approve the fees, fines, and charges that are expected and anticipated at the elementary schools, the middle schools, and the high schools. They've been reviewed by the principals. There are no changes this year. We don't anticipate any changes. They look exactly the way they did last year. And I'd like to submit them tonight for your review and ask that they be approved so that the principals can order their handbooks, because they do include the prices in the handbooks.
Okay, are there any questions from Mrs. Herring? Thank you, Mrs. Herring. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the 2022-2023 fees, fines, and charges?
Move to accept.
Excuse me, Mr. Anderson, correct? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Davis. I'm sorry. Mr. Davis, got a motion by Mr. Davis. There's a second. I'm sorry.
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. We have a motion by Mr. Davis and a second by Mr. Smith to approve the fines, fees, and charges for the 2022-2023 school year. Is there any discussion? As presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. My apologies, Mr. Anderson. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mrs. Herring. Chair recognizes Mr. Brent Williams for review of the face covering policy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you all know, the law still requires, SB 654 requires local boards of education to vote at least once a month on whether their face mask face covering policy should be modified. Synopsis of current policy is that face coverings are optional for all students and staff members and visitors to all of our campuses everywhere, including buses.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Any questions? Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to the Lenore County Board of Education face covering policy?
Move to keep the current policy in place.
A motion by Mr. Smith. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Davis. We have a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Mr. Davis to continue face coverings be optional for all students, staff, and visitors while in or on all the Lenore County public schools facilities and on all Lenore County public school buses. Any discussion? Hearing none, Chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Mr. Chair? If
Yes.
I could also just clarify, this is the last time you'll need to vote on that, as Senate Bill 654 pertains to the 2021-2022 school year
Okay.
only. Yep.
Thank you, ma'am.
So it won't cover,
You're-
it won't cover some activities?
What won't cover some activities?
The face covering policy.
I think it goes through the 2021-22 school year, which
But you got some activities.
you can certainly continue to look at it every month. I'm not sure that that would be included. Usually the fiscal year or this academic year ends June 30th, so beginning July 1st would start the next cycle. But you certainly can look at
That's what I'm
it.
saying, all our programs for the summer will start in July.
Yeah, they will.
So it's not, the law, the end date is June 30th. So if we
Yes,
wanted
so
to-
you can certainly look at it in additional months if you so choose, but the law requires you to do it through the school year. The school year ends June 30th.
So it won't be necessary for us to discuss this in July.
It's not mandatory.
In June.
It's not mandatory for you to discuss it in June.
July.
Any other questions or comments from Mrs. Murchison? All right, Chair recognizes the favorite part of the meeting.
Right.
Mr. Harvey, the chair recognizes Mr. Harvey to present surplus items.
Most riveting, I'm sure. The attached items are from the technology department and curriculum department, and they are submitted for your approval to be deemed surplus. Any proceeds derived from the sale shall be returned to those respective departments. You've got outdated health science textbooks, you've got a hospital bed, and you've got Kinston High School CGE, I'm sorry, Carlisle's Career Promise textbooks that are outdated as well. So that's why I asked your approval.
All right, any questions for Mr. Harvey?
Just one.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody buy these old textbooks?
It's hit or miss, Ms. Jones.
I just wonder.
When I was principal at Early College, not many.
Not really.
All right, thank you, Mr. Harvey. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to surplus items?
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Smith, is there a second? Second by Mr. Davis. We have a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Mr. Davis to approve the surplus items as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, Chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to closed session? Yes, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the Lenore County Board of Education enter into closed session under North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 to prevent the disclosure of confidential personnel files, to consult with the board's attorney in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege, to consider matters relating to the initial employment of an individual employee, and to meet with the board's attorney about a matter pending in Superior Court, Robertson versus Lenore County Board of Education, case number 21 CVS 1040.
Motion by Mr. Anderson, is there a second? Second by Mr. Davis. A motion by Mr. Anderson, a second by Mr. Davis to move to closed session. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. We are now in closed session. Thank you. The Moore County Board of Education is back in open session, and we're going to have several personnel motions, and some of us will have to recuse ourselves, so we'll recuse ourselves at the appropriate time. Is there a recommendation or motion pertaining to personnel recommendations?
Motion, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Smith.
Move to approve the monthly report as presented.
Does have a motion by Mr. Smith. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Woods. We got a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Mr. Woods to approve the monthly recommendations.
Monthly
Any
personnel
discussion?
report. Monthly personnel report.
Monthly personnel recommendations. Yes. Any discussion? All right. Does anybody need to recuse himself from this one? No?
No.
Okay. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. All right. First motion carries. Mr. Smith, excuse me, is there a motion or recommendation pertaining to additional personnel recommendations?
I move to approve the addendum number 1 of personnel report
There's
as
a motion.
presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Davis. All right. Motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Mr. Davis to approve addendum number 1 as presented. Any discussion?
I believe this is the one that Mr. Anderson, you need to recuse yourself on.
Mr. Chairman, I need to recuse myself.
Okay, so
I have
you're
family
gonna
on this
recuse
one.
yourself from the addendum,
Okay.
number 1. Okay. Anybody else need to recuse themselves from it? All right. If there's no further discussion, we'll call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Is there a recommendation, motion pertaining to personnel recommendations?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve addendum number 2 to the personnel report as presented.
Addendum number 2. Okay, got a motion or a second?
Second.
Second. Got a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Mr. Davis to approve addendum number 2 as presented. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Is there a recommended motion pertaining to any more personnel recommendations?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the summer session report as, let me rephrase that. Move to approve the summer session personnel report as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
So I will need to recuse myself from this one.
Yes, sir.
We have a motion by Mr. Smith and a second by Mr. Davis to approve the summer school recommendations. Are there any discussion?
As amended.
As presented, all right?
As
All in
amended.
favor?
As amended.
As amended, excuse me, as amended.
As amended.
Okay. Any further discussion? Now, hearing none, chair will call the vote. All in favor of the summer school recommendations as amended, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. All right. With no further business to come before the board, is there a recommendation or a motion pertaining to adjournment?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Anderson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Davis. Motion by Mr. Anderson, and second by Mr. Davis to adjourn the June 6, 2020 regular monthly board meeting. Any discussion? Hearing none, chair will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion as stated, please signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Everyone, please stay safe.